Hello and a very warm welcome to the Question Hour show from the Parliament House complex, where we bring you important unstart questions that were asked by the members of the Rajya Sabha in the last session and the reply given by the government. I'm Kriti Mishra, and joining me is my colleague Vishal.
Well, thank you so much, Kriti. And let's begin with today's questions for our viewers. And the first question is by member Amar Singh. And this one is to the Ministry of Home Affairs, wherein the member wants to know from the government whether it is a fact that the South Indian states have a considerable presence of Islamic State radicals and sympathizers. Also, he wants to know the details from the government.
Well, the government says that some instances of individuals from different states, including the southern states, have joined IS. That has come to the notice of central and state security agencies. The National Investigation Agency and the state police have registered cases against IS members or sympathizers and have also arrested 160 persons from across the country. The Islamic State of Iraq and Levant, Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, Daesh, has been notified as terrorist organization. The National Investigation Agency has registered 27 IS-related cases in which 110 accused persons have been arrested. And out of these 27 cases, NIA has arrested 56 persons in 18 cases from South India. Let's move on to the next question asked by member Kirori Lal Meena, and this one is to the Ministry of Jal Shakti. And Mr. Meena has asked whether it is a fact that Rajasthan government has submitted a proposal to the central government regarding East Rajasthan Central Project for irrigation and drinking water facility in 13 districts of the state, and if so, the cost of phase 1 of this project.
Well, the response of the Jal Shakti Ministry to this question is affirmative, and the ministry says that as reported by a Central Water Commission, the Eastern Rajasthan Canal Project, Rajasthan envisages intra-basin transfer of water within the Chambal Basin by utilizing surplus monsoon water available in Kali Sindh, Parvati, Mej and Chakkan sub-basins and diverting it into water deficit sub-basins of Banas, Gambhiri, Banganga and Parvati. The estimated total cost of the project is 37,247.12 crore rupees at 2014 price level. The objective of the project is to provide drinking, irrigation and industrial water to 13 districts of eastern Rajasthan and en route towns, villages and tanks as well as nearby command area. Now, Government of Rajasthan has been requested to re-evaluate project in the light of 13th meeting of the MP Rajasthan Interstate Control Board guidelines and CWC guidelines in order to resolve the interstate issues involved here. The next question is to the Ministry of Civil Aviation, and this one is by member GVL Narasimha Rao, who wants to know from the government what was the number of operational airports in the country in 2016 and what is it now after the implementation of Regional Connectivity Scheme, that is RCS UDAN, and what was the target of the UDAN scheme in making regional airports operational and what has been achieved so far by the government.
Well, the government has given a very specific answer here, and the government goes on to say that the number of airports with scheduled flights in the country in 2016 was 77. Till date, 39 airports, 23 unserved and 16 underserved have been connected under Regional Connectivity Scheme RCS UDAN, which is also known as Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik. Out of the 705 routes awarded under RCS UDAN version 1.0, 2.0 and 3.0, 174 routes are operational till date. The government further goes on to say that RCS UDAN is regularly monitored for successful implementation, and in case of any willful default by a selected airline operator, which is also called SAO, cancellation of routes are done by forfeiting the performance guarantee, proposal security and also the routes that are bid. Let's move on to the next question asked by member Vijay Goyal, and this one is to the Ministry of Home Affairs. And Mr. Goyal has asked about the names of the states where lotteries are being run in the country, and he also asks whether government proposes to take steps to ban all kinds of lotteries in India.
Well, the Ministry of Home Affairs in its answer says that lotteries are being run in the state of Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Goa, Kerala, Maharashtra, Mizoram, Nagaland, Punjab, Sikkim and West Bengal. The amount of service tax collected from lottery distributors and selling agents during the year 2016-17 was 260 crore rupees approximately, and there is no such proposal under consideration according to the ministry. However, the government of India has not allowed sale of lottery tickets in union territories. In the absence of a consensus on the issue, the government has notified the Lotteries Regulation Rules 2010 for effective regulation of lotteries. The next question is to the Ministry of Human Resource Development, and this one has been asked by member Vijay Pal Singh Tomar, who wants to know from the government whether it is contemplating changes to make the higher education system job-oriented.
The government goes on to say that higher education system has many educational streams which are directly job-oriented, and further, in order to enhance job orientation and employability, several steps have been taken by the government. Now, these include that there are 1,109 skill-oriented courses being run by University Grants Commission and All India Council for Technical Education through 556 institutions, through 188 community colleges and 68 DDU Kaushal Kendra colleges, in which 38,414 students are receiving skill training education. New and updated vocational curriculum is being developed in line with industry demand, and through these programs are implemented. AICTE has launched an internship portal to facilitate industry internship to students. Internship has been made mandatory for students of engineering colleges. WeBox Employability Skill Test, which is called WEST, for all pre-final and final year graduates of AICTE approved institutions to identify the core strengths of students and to certify the same. Technical Education Quality Improvement Program, which is called TEQIP, Phase 3 is under implementation to enhance quality, equity and employability in selected engineering educational institutions. National Career Service Portal, which is also called NCS, has been launched as a common platform to bring together all stakeholders like job seekers, employers, counsellors, local service providers and trainers to facilitate convergence of information and link job seekers with job providers. And lastly, MHRD is working in cooperation with Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, called MSDE, and sector skill councils, which comprise representatives of industry and service sectors, to develop curriculum that reflect industry demand skills so that higher education can be linked with employment opportunities. Let's move on to the next question to the Ministry of Steel, and this one has been asked by member TG Venkatesh. And Mr. Venkatesh has asked what the government has introduced Make in India initiatives in the Indian steel sector.
Well, the Ministry of Steel has given a very detailed answer, and it says that domestically manufactured iron and steel products policy has been notified on 8th of May 2017 and subsequently revised on 29th of May 2019 with an objective to encourage Make in India for steel and steel products. Under this policy, central government ministries and departments and their agencies are required to mandatorily procure only those steel items which are manufactured in India. Although steel is a deregulated sector, the following steps have been taken by the government to curtail steel imports and boost steel exports. Domestically manufactured iron and steel products policy 2017 has been revised on 29th of May 2019. It has reduced the threshold minimum value of the contract from 50 crore rupees to 25 crore rupees. It now includes engineering, procurement and construction, that is EPC contracts, within the ambit of this policy, apart from other things, thereby promoting consumption of domestically produced goods and reducing imports. Further, the government has notified 53 steel and steel products quality control orders, which is applicable for both domestic productions as well as imports. The steel quality control order are implemented in the public interest for protection of human, animal and plant, safety of environment, prevention of unfair trade practices and national security as well. And lastly, in order to protect the domestic industry from unfair external competition, appropriate trade measures such as anti-dumping duties and countervailing duties have been imposed. Government has several schemes for promoting exports such as Foreign Trade Policy 2015-20, MEIS, market access initiatives, etc., etc. Well, the next question is to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and this one is by member K.C. Ramamurthy, who wants to know from the government about the aims and objectives of the proposed new metro policy and the status of ongoing and approved projects with a particular reference to Karnataka.
Well, the Government of India has issued the Metro Rail Policy 2017 in August 2017, which focuses on systematic planning and implementation of metro rail systems in more comprehensive and sustainable manner. The policy aims at ascertaining and enhancing the feasibility of metro rail projects from economic, social and environmental perspective. The policy is a guide to state governments for preparing comprehensive proposals for metro rail projects. The policy also enables innovative financing through transit-oriented development and value capture finance and encourages public-private partnership for implementation of the metro rail projects. The government further says that urban transport, which is an integral part of urban development, is a state subject. Hence, respective state governments or ULBs are responsible for planning and development of urban mass transport infrastructure, including metro rail. The central government considers financial assistance for metro rail proposals as and when they are posed by the concerned state governments on the basis of the feasibility of the proposal and availability of the resources. As per the Metro Policy 2017, the options for central financial assistance for metro rail projects include projects in the public-private partnership mode eligible for grant up to 20% under the Viability Gap Funding Scheme of Ministry of Finance, Government of India. A grant of 10% of the total project cost is admissible for metro projects implemented by state governments subject to the conditions as per Metro Rail Policy 2017. And lastly, equal sharing of equity between central and state governments with a maximum contribution of 20% of the project cost by the central government. So Vishal, these were the questions and answers in today's edition of Question Hour.
Well, you're right. We'll take a short break here, and on the other side of the break, our colleagues Arvind Singh and Kriti Singh will bring you some more questions in Prashnakal. Stay tuned.